What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on the Stephen A. Smith Show, he's going to be discussing, is Russell Westbrook the problem in OKC, or is it something else? So let's see what he has to say about that.
None of us knew about Paul George. I didn't have a damn clue about the Paul George angle. Not at all. I looked at his numbers, looked at what he was locked in, his commitment last year to Oklahoma City. They kept that quiet. Aaron Mint, CAA, represents Paul George. Paul George, after 1 year after having some damn concert-like atmosphere, announcing he wasn't going anywhere, says he wants out. And now where does that leave Russell Westbrook? Now, I know it's popular to pounce on Russell Westbrook because you're going to sit up there and say, Harden wanted out, wanted his own team, KD left, and now Paul George left. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all want to look at Russell Westbrook, and y'all want to blame him. I got news for y'all. I'm looking at Sam Presti. Listen, if Sam Presti's watching, let me be very, very clear. The man knows what he's doing. He's incredibly adroit at his job. We understand what they do what they do in drafts. We understand what they do in terms of picking up quality players. We get all of that. But whether it's Sam Presti and his military-like style and stringent way of doing things and promoting team at the expense of individuals, which might serve to alienate dudes, or whether it's ownership, or whether it's the city of Oklahoma City that nobody seems to want to stay in outside of Russell Westbrook, the bottom line is clear. Russell Westbrook has to go. I don't know if it's fair to judge Russell Westbrook harshly if he is in Oklahoma City. That might have everything to do with people's lack of desire to be there. If Russell Westbrook was in LA, would people be wanting to leave him?
So let me stop you right there, Stephen A. Smith. So I definitely think that it has to be Westbrook. It has to be Westbrook because I don't think it's the location. I don't think so at all. And what kind of tells me that is I bet you if they went to the finals a few times and maybe won a championship or two, do you think any of those guys would have left? Do you think any of those guys, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Carmelo, any of those guys, James Harden, you think any of those guys would have left OKC? Because I don't think so. I don't think so, not even a little bit. So I think it has to be Westbrook. It has to be Westbrook. I mean, how many MVPs has he played with? James Harden was MVP. Kevin Durant was MVP. Paul George was running and looked like he might have got MVP last year until he got hurt. He played with Carmelo Anthony. I mean, he has Steven Adams. So for the past 3 years, he hasn't been able to make it out of the first round, and he's had all that firepower? I mean, nah, man, that's got to be Westbrook. It's got to be Westbrook. I mean, like I said, I can seriously doubt that for the past 3 years, not making it out of the first round has something to do because guys don't like being in OKC. Their play is messed up in the playoffs because nobody wants to really play in OKC. They want to go to LA or New York. I seriously doubt that's what the problem is. The problem is Westbrook. The problem is Westbrook. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Westbrook. He's a baller, but he just needs to tweak his game so he's a little bit more of a team player. I hate to say it, but like I said, he's a baller. I like Westbrook, but he needs to work on his teammates, work on being a team player. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
If Russell Westbrook was in New York, would people be wanting to leave him? I appreciate Paul George coming out on Twitter or wherever the hell he came out of in support of Russell Westbrook because I don't know if Russell Westbrook deserves blame here.
Like I said, man, who's the front runner of his team, of OKC, for the past 3 years? It's been Russell Westbrook. And they haven't been able to make it out of the first round for the past 3 years, especially since Kevin Durant left? Well, who else is to blame? It can't be. Well, nobody really likes to be in OKC, so that's why we can't make it past the first round. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. It has to be Westbrook. It has to be. And as far as if they were to play in LA or play in New York, at some point you're going to have to leave a team, no matter where you're at. If you get bounced out of the first round for the past 3 years and the past 5 years, you haven't been able to even make it to the finals. You have to eventually. You have to move. Eventually, you have to leave. It doesn't matter where you're at, especially if you've had the type of firepower that Russell Westbrook's had on his team. Eventually, you're going to be like, look, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to go someplace else and join somebody else to do something, because they pretty much have had a super team at one point and haven't been able to get it done. Bounced out of the first round the past 3 years with all that firepower, and they can't do it. It doesn't matter if you're in LA. It doesn't matter if you're in New York. At some point in time, you have to be like, look, this is not going to work out. I'm going to have to leave. And LA and New York aren't the only biggest attraction cities that people would want to go play at. So I don't know. Let's continue.
I really don't know. I don't know if we can say that. Oklahoma City has a great fan base. Oklahoma City, in terms of walking into that arena and having those fans cheer for you, nothing wrong with that. But in terms of wanting to live in Oklahoma City, let's face reality, ain't nobody clamoring to go there in free agency. It was a miracle that Paul George wanted to stay.
Again, I seriously doubt when they're playing in round one of the playoffs that those guys are just so distraught about having to live in OKC that it affects their play to where they can't get out of the first round for the past 3 years. I seriously doubt that's what it is. I seriously doubt that. So, I don't know. Let's continue.
And so now what you have is a situation where they got to make a move. Miami, Houston, people bringing up the New York Knicks, who I don't believe have the requisite assets to acquire somebody like a Russell Westbrook, but considering his contract, which has 4 years, $170 million left on it, maybe that's why Sam Presti just acquired another first-round pick from somebody. Because he recognized the fact that you might have to offer Russell Westbrook with picks in order to get somebody to take on that salary. You just never know. That's a lot to ask somebody to take on for a dude approaching 31 years of age, whose success is predicated on his athleticism, who in some people's eyes lost a step. I'm not giving up on Russell Westbrook. He's a superstar.
So I'll definitely have to co-sign with that. I do Westbrook. He's a superstar. He is a baller, but he needs to tweak his game so he can play more better with his teammates and get everybody involved. I know he has high assists and all that, but there's just certain other ways where he can get the team more involved to where he's not doing everything, because when he does everything, the stats just show that they don't win when he does everything. He needs to share the ball, share the wealth a little bit, if you will, with his teammates. And as far as, like I said, I like Westbrook, but it just doesn't look good. It just does not look good. And everybody that leaves him, they pretty much do better. Look at James Harden. He's doing pretty good with Houston. He's getting beat up in the playoffs too, but it's not like he's a scrub on his teams. He's balling. Look at Kevin Durant. We know what Kevin Durant's been doing. He's been balling. So what's Paul George going to do next year? I'm pretty sure he's going to ball next year, and they're going to go pretty good. They might beat up OKC if they meet up in the playoffs. And it won't look good for Westbrook in the first round either. So everybody leaves Westbrook and they do better. And when they're with him, if they were probably winning, they probably wouldn't have left. So like I said, I don't think it's the environment. I think it has to be Westbrook, because Westbrook is the common denominator through all the years of everybody that he's played with. So I don't know. Let's continue.
But others have question marks. And he ain't been out the first round since KD left.